Hi, I'm Silas, 35, and last Christmas, I got uninvited from my own family's holiday because, quote, no deadbeats this year. 2 weeks later, I hosted 30 people at my $8 million mountain lodge, including the grandpa they thought they had locked down. Guess whose Christmas got ruined? My phone buzzed just past 6 a.m., lighting up with a message from my dad. We're keeping Christmas small this year. No deadbeats. Just Marcy and her family. That's it. No. Love you? No, hope you're doing well. Just a backhanded slap with a bow on top. I stared at it. Read it twice. Then once more, just to let it dig in real good. I typed back. Got it. Enjoy yourselves? Short. Civil. The kind of message that pretends not to hurt, while every syllable lands like a gut punch. I set the phone down and let the silence roll over me like it always did. See, this wasn't new. I'd been the optional child since age 13, the shadow in the background of the Marcy show. She was their star from birth. Straight teeth, choir solos, maybe Juilliard material. I built a robot that could follow light commands in a garage with wire scraps and a prayer. Their response? That's nice, Silas. Marcy's teacher said she's got real potential. That robot ended up in a box. Same as every idea I ever had. When Marcy tripped over my project wires and twisted her ankle, I got screamed at for nearly killing her. They confiscated all my gear and called it junk. 2 days later, she got designer boots to cheer her up. I got told to reflect on my selfishness. So I stopped building. I stopped showing up. I learned that curiosity came with a price. Praise was reserved for Marcy's sneeze technique. I could have invented a cure for gravity, and I'd still be the difficult one. When I got into Caltech, Dad said, that's far from home. You sure about all this computer stuff? Mom added, Marcy's law school graduation is the same week. We'll try to visit. They never did. I watched Marcy's wedding from the shadows, holding a flashlight. Literally. My dad said, you're good with wires. Help the lighting guy. Her husband didn't shake my hand. I wasn't even asked to stand near her in the wedding party. But when she walked down the aisle, my parents beamed like they were the ones getting married. Later I said goodbye. They were already halfway into a conversation with the groom's parents about honeymoon suites. I doubt they even noticed I left. Only person who said anything real that night? Uncle Ray. Pulled me aside. Handed me a beer I didn't even want and said, don't take it personal, kid. They think loud equals successful. That ain't your problem. It stuck. After that, I kept my distance. Sent them updates, got silence. If I didn't mention Marcy, the phone call died within a minute. One Thanksgiving, I couldn't afford the flight. Called and asked if they could help. Dad said, don't worry about it, Silas. Whether you come or not won't make much difference. I sat on my dorm bed and stared at the wall. Thanksgiving came and went. I ate noodles from the vending machine. Watched their family photo hit Facebook, matching sweaters. Golden turkey. Caption. Family is everything. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't forgotten. I was excluded. On purpose. And one day, I was going to make damn sure they noticed. After college, I moved to Chicago with a suitcase, a beat-up laptop that had to be plugged in at all times, and an offer letter from a cybersecurity firm that paid less than Marcy's monthly manicure bill. The work was brutal, patching broken firewalls, pulling all-nighters, and writing reports my manager slapped his name on. He got the bonuses. I got, attaboy, keep grinding. 3 years in, I'd had enough. I quit. Started my own company, Centria, out of my crappy apartment with more coffee stains than furniture. My first office was a wobbly IKEA desk and a chair that screamed when I sat down. But I believed in it. I was coding 14 hours a day, pitching security systems to anyone who'd listen. Clinics, mom-and-pop stores, startups, anyone who couldn't afford the big guys. It worked. For a while. Then one client claimed a security update broke their payment system. They stopped paying and threatened to sue. Word got around. 2 more clients bailed. Suddenly, my rent was overdue, my fridge was empty, and I was Googling how long ramen could keep you alive. I called my parents. Huge mistake. Mom said. Well, businesses are risky. Marcy always said you were a dreamer. Dad chimed in with, maybe it's time for a real job. Marcy's firm is hiring. I asked for a small loan. Nothing. Not even gas money. So I tried Marcy. She actually laughed. Wow. Already getting sued? That's impressive. Hung up before I could respond. I sat in the dark that night, holding a letter from a collections agency and a shut-off notice for my power. I had one person left to call. Uncle Ray. He picked up, voice scratchy like always. Silas? You sound like you got punched in the wallet. Talk to me. I told him everything. Every dumb decision, every mistake. Expected a lecture. Instead, he said, you're not screwed. You're just early. I'll wire you something. Don't die in the dark, kid. Next day, the money hit. Barely enough to breathe, but that breath kept me alive. His friend, a crusty lawyer with a permanent frown, got my case settled. I shut Centria down, sold what gear I had left, and started over. Ray sent me side gigs. I patched security systems for people who couldn't afford to get hacked. I'd send Ray updates and he'd text back. Told you. Keep grinding. You're not done yet. And for the first time, I actually believed it. 6 months later, Ray's connections landed me a director-level role at a mid-sized security firm. Nothing flashy, but stable. I managed a small team, handled real contracts, learned how business actually worked, not just the code, but the politics. The mess. The lies. It didn't take long to see how broken things were. VPs spent meetings arguing about fonts while I was patching real data leaks. They charged clients $10,000 for bulletproof systems I could break in under 10 minutes. I kept my mouth shut and did my job. They called me the clean-up guy. I didn't care. Cleanup paid better than creation. But something itched at the back of my brain. Every day I watched these people get rich off broken promises, while small businesses got left in the dust. So in late 2020, after one exec suggested we delete a breach instead of reporting it, I finally snapped. That night, I typed my resignation, hit send, and named a new folder on my drive. Shield Path. No funding. No investors. Just me, a rented office above an auto shop, and a space heater that coughed like it had bronchitis. I built it from the floor up, a secure, affordable system for hospitals, clinics, retailers. People who couldn't afford NASA-tier software, but still needed protection. Every day I wrote code until my hands cramped. Ate soup out of the can. Slept on the floor more nights than not. And then, the fire. Thursday night. Power flickered, smelled something burning. Turned around, flames licking up the drywall from a cheap outlet. I grabbed the fire extinguisher, it was empty. Of course it was. I bolted for the door, then stopped. The servers. Everything I'd built, every line of code, was still inside. I ran back in. Wrapped my hoodie around my face. Yanked the main rig off the desk, dragging wires like a madman. Tripped over a box, landed wrong, wrist screaming. Smoke thick enough to choke a horse. I made it out just as the fire truck pulled up. The office? Gone. Insurance? Didn't cover faulty wiring. I sat in my car at 3 a.m., staring at a half-melted tower and a dead monitor, thinking maybe my parents had been right all along. Then I got a text from Ray. Heard about the fire. You alive? I told him. He replied. I've got a guy. Give me a day. 5 days later, I'm in a dusty garage watching a half-retired wizard plug my drive into something that looked like it ran on black magic and duct tape. Didn't get it all, he said. But I got the core. That's all I needed. I rebuilt Shield Path from scratch. Smarter. Faster. Meaner. 3 months later, I got an email. A hospital chain I'd pitched to wanted to talk contracts. And just like that, the ashes started turning into something real. That first hospital deal was small on paper, a modest contract for system-wide security upgrades, but for me, it was oxygen. Validation. Proof that I wasn't just some guy with a keyboard and a grudge. Word got around faster than I could handle. One clinic told another. A small retail group came next. Then a chain of urgent care centers. Suddenly, I wasn't pitching to people anymore, they were coming to me. Shield Path grew like a weed with caffeine addiction. I hired my first employee, Adam, nervous, brilliant, looked like he hadn't slept since middle school. Reminded me of me. Then came 3 more. Then 10. I gave them a real office this time. No creaky floors. No risk of spontaneous combustion. We had desks that didn't wobble and Wi-Fi that worked even when someone sneezed. Isla, my operations manager, was ex-hotel staff with the soul of a war general. She could coordinate cross-country client rollouts in her sleep and still have time to yell at vendors. Shield Path didn't just work. It ran. We weren't flashy. We weren't Silicon Valley. But we were secure, and fast. We fixed what the big guys broke. Hospitals kept recommending us. Government pilot programs started calling. I got invited to conferences. Panels. People started asking me questions like I mattered. Meanwhile, my parents still thought I worked with computers. I didn't correct them. Why ruin the surprise? Then came the email from the conglomerate. A cybersecurity giant, the kind that buys companies the way normal people buy gum, wanted to acquire Shield Path. Full buyout. $50 million. I thought it was a phishing scam. I forwarded it to my lawyer, just in case. He called me 20 minutes later, voice high with disbelief. Silas. It's real. And the offer's clean. 3 weeks later, I'm in a glass-walled conference room, signing paperwork that looked like it belonged to someone richer and taller. Everyone was shaking my hand. Flashing smiles. Champagne. Me? I was trying not to throw up. Before I signed, I called Ray. Remember when you said I'd figure out how to land after crashing? Sure. Why? I'm selling Shield Path. 50 million. Long pause. Then the loudest whistle I've ever heard. Damn, kid. I thought you were calling to ask for printer help. I laughed. You backed me when no one else did. You're getting a cut. You're my partner in this mess. Silas, that's your money. Nope. It's our win. He didn't argue. Just cleared his throat and muttered. You're a good man, kid. That night, I didn't throw a party. Didn't buy a car. I went home. Sat on the couch. Opened my bank app and stared at the number like it might change back. $50 million. You'd think it would feel euphoric. But instead, it just felt quiet. Like the start of something bigger. A week later, I bought the kind of place you don't find on Zillow. A mountainside penthouse lodge in Colorado. 3 levels, all glass and dark wood, like a Bond villain's retirement plan. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking pine trees, snow drifting down like powdered sugar. Silence so deep you could hear your own thoughts breathing. It wasn't about the money. It was about space. My space. After a lifetime of being boxed out, overlooked, and talked over, I wanted silence that couldn't be interrupted, walls I chose, floors I paid for, a front door nobody else had a key to. I furnished it like a man who knew exactly what he needed and nothing more. Smart, efficient, minimal. Not flashy, clean. No piano nobody played. No chandelier that screamed, "Look at me!" Just warmth. Order. Control. I hired Isla again, this time to run the property. She said yes before I finished the sentence. She'd left her hotel gig months ago and apparently missed managing chaos. Within a week, she had logistics down to a science, groceries delivered, repairs scheduled, even snow shoveling on autopilot. If I sneezed, she'd know the wind speed that caused it. Every morning I stood by the window, coffee in hand, watching fog slide through the trees and pile on the roof of the SUV I never drove. It was quiet. Peaceful. Real. And that's when it came. The text. Dad. We're keeping Christmas small this year. No deadbeats. Just Marcy and her family. Same words. Same tone. Like they were writing out a company memo. Like I was some failed intern they quietly let go and hoped nobody would notice. I actually laughed this time. Not bitter, not even surprised. Just that dry, short laugh that says, "Wow, you still don't get it." I stood in front of those giant windows, the mountains turning orange with morning sun, snow sparkling like powdered diamonds. My driveway curved through the trees like something out of a Christmas movie. And I realized something. I wasn't the kid begging for a seat at the table anymore. I was the guy who built the damn table. So I made a decision. This year, I wouldn't be excluded. This year, I'd host my Christmas. The one nobody forgets. I called Uncle Ray first. He answered on the second ring. If you're calling to complain about your parents again. Nope. I cut him off. I'm hosting Christmas this year. Colorado. You in? Silence. Then he laughed. Hell yes. I'll bring Clara and anyone who's not allergic to snow. Then I called Aunt Susie. Then cousins I hadn't seen in a decade. Old college friends. Early Shield Path employees. Anyone who'd shown me respect when I had nothing. Every single one said yes. No hesitation. I told Isla, I want this to be unforgettable. She replied without looking up from her iPad. Already ahead of you. And just like that, the holiday my parents disinvited me from became the one they weren't invited to. The week leading up to Christmas felt like prepping for a royal summit. Isla ran the place like she was preparing for heads of state. Guest rooms assigned. Airport pickups scheduled. Menus finalized with a private chef who looked like he could cook and bench press a moose. By Christmas Eve, the lodge was alive. Luggage stacked by the door, boots melting snow into puddles on the hardwood. Kids running through the halls like it was Narnia. Cousins I hadn't seen since I still had braces were hugging me like I'd just come back from war. Ray walked in, shook snow off his coat, and just stood there, jaw half dropped. Kid, he said, turning in a slow circle. You undersold it. This place looks like a Netflix Christmas special. I laughed. Except this one doesn't have a controlling father subplot. He clapped me on the back and grinned. Damn right. By 5 p.m., there were 30 people in my house, cousins, in-laws, childhood friends, even my Caltech roommate who once duct-taped an entire server rack together during a blackout. And for the first time in years, nobody was waiting for Marcy to arrive before we could eat. There was no golden child. No assigned seats. Just people who chose to be here. Then the phone call started. It was Cousin Mark's phone first. It's your dad. I smirked. Answer it. Mark put him on speaker. Hey, Uncle Jerry. Merry Christmas. What's up? Where are you guys? We've been waiting all morning. Marcy's kids are opening presents. Mark grinned. We're at Silas's place. Colorado. It's amazing up here. Dead silence. You're where? Silas's lodge. He invited everyone. Click. Dad hung up. 2 minutes later, another cousin's phone rang. Then another. This time it was Mom, doing her usual guilt tour. Same question. Same answer. Same hang-up. It was like watching a chain of dominoes collapse. You could practically hear the entitlement breaking through the phone lines. Dinner was surreal. Isla had gone full holiday warfare. Glazed ham, roasted turkey, mashed potatoes so buttery they should have come with a cardiologist. 2 kinds of pie. Real silverware. Wine flowing. Fireplace glowing. It was everything I never got at home, but better, because it came with no strings. Then, just after dessert, came the cherry on top. A knock. Isla opened the door, and there stood Grandpa Frank. 80 years old, hair full of snow, eyes twinkling like he just pulled off a heist. Told your parents I had the flu, he said, stepping in. Got on a plane anyway. I laughed, hugged him. You madman. He looked around the lodge and whistled. This is some setup. You finally did it. Took long enough for someone to notice. He winked. Oh, they noticed. Your mom's been calling every church lady she knows trying to figure out how you pulled this off. I poured him a drink. The rest of the night? Laughter. Games. Firelight. Ray mock arguing about the pie crust. Kids building forts out of pillows. My old Caltech friend DJing from an iPad like it was a rave. And me? I just sat back, watching the chaos I created, the good kind. The kind that felt like home. By Christmas morning, the house looked like a Hallmark card had exploded, wrapping paper everywhere, the smell of cinnamon and coffee in the air, and people in pajamas wandering around with sleepy grins and plates of leftovers. I stood in the kitchen flipping pancakes for a pack of kids like some kind of lumberjack dad figure. It was surreal. Then my phone started buzzing. Non-stop. Caller ID, Dad? Figures. I picked up on the fifth ring. Morning. His voice was tight, clipped, like he was trying to hold his breath through a tantrum. You humiliated us, Silas. Everyone's talking about your little Christmas circus. What the hell were you thinking? I wiped pancake batter off my hands, leaned against the counter. I was thinking about having a holiday with people who actually wanted me there. That was our Christmas. He snapped. You stole it. You invited our family, our friends, behind our backs. Correction, I said, pouring more batter. I invited the people you forgot existed. Big difference. In the background, I could hear Mom chiming in, voice high and theatrical as ever. Do you know how this makes us look? Everyone saw those pictures online. The lodge, the party, even your grandfather. The one you didn't invite, right? I said flatly. Silence. Then Dad exhaled, sharp and angry. You know what? I'm not doing this. Just tell me one thing. How did you afford all this? Ah. There it was. The real reason they called. The money. I smiled. Walked over to the big window. Outside, snow was falling again. Slow, heavy flakes landing on pine branches like frosting. The mountains stretched forever. Remember that company I started? Shield Path? Your tech thing? I sold it, I said. For $50 million. Dead. Silence. Then Mom's voice cracking. 550? Million? With an M. Dad made a choking sound. You're joking. Nope. Google it, if you've ever Googled anything that wasn't Marcy's LinkedIn. They both started speaking over each other, panic rising, confusion turning to desperation. Mom went first. We're your family, Silas. That money, it belongs to all of us, in a way. Excuse me? We supported you through college. Through everything. I laughed. I actually laughed. You mean the time you told me to get a real job? Or when you called me a deadbeat? That kind of support? Dad jumped in, voice sharp. Don't be ridiculous. We're still your parents. You wouldn't be here without us. At that moment, Grandpa Frank wandered into the kitchen in his robe, holding a mug that said, World's okayest golfer. Who's yelling? He grumbled. I motioned him over and put the call on speaker. Mom's voice came through loud and clear. Silas, we're not asking for much. Just something fair. A family share. Grandpa set down his mug and leaned into the phone like he was speaking to a telemarketer. You two have some nerve. Dad's voice cracked. Dad? Oh, don't dad me. You ignored this boy for years, treated him like a mistake, and now you're crying because he made it without you? Shame on you. Both of you. In the background, I heard someone else join the chaos. Marcy. Grandpa, please. It's not like that. Our Christmas just looked sad compared to his. People are asking why we weren't there. Then maybe next time. Grandpa said, voice ice cold. Treat him like family before you whine about being excluded. Dead air. Then click. Line went dead. Grandpa sipped his coffee and shrugged. Well, that felt better than fiber. I laughed so hard I had to sit down. He grinned, raising his mug. Let them stew in it. You're finally free, kid. No more begging for a seat. You've got the whole table now. And for once, I knew he was right. That afternoon, snow turned the whole mountain into silence. Inside, the lodge buzzed with warmth, pancake syrup, board games, cousins bickering over Uno. I looked around and realized, this was my real family. Not the ones who shared my DNA, the ones who actually showed up. Later, by the fire, Grandpa nudged me. You found your people, Silas. Yeah, I said. Took me long enough. He raised his mug. Make 'em earn your respect. You're worth more than their approval. That night, Marcy texted. I'm sorry. I've been jealous for years. You took risks. I just followed the rules. I didn't see it then. I do now. I stared at it for a long time. Then I locked my phone and turned it face down. No reply. Outside, snow kept falling. The fire crackled. It wasn't revenge. It was freedom,